Give you guys a heads up on what we're talking about. We're going to be going over CC&Rs. Okay, CC&R is a big thing that we've been getting people asking about. They're confused. They're confusing HOAs with CC&Rs. And sometimes they're kind of like, they go hand in hand sometimes. We're going to talk about CC&Rs. A lot of folks lately has been asking about CC&Rs. And if you guys don't know what CC&R stands for, it stands for covenants, conditions, and restrictions. And you guys are probably thinking like, isn't that the same as HOAs? CC&Rs and HOAs do kind of go hand in hand, but they're not the same. You could have CC&Rs and not have HOA, and vice versa. You can have HOAs and not have CC&Rs. Not every property has CC&Rs. So what is CC&Rs? Lisa, do you know what CC&Rs are?
I don't have to look at those a lot. It's more on your guys' side, obviously, right? But usually it's a part of the homeowners association. It's whatever the community in that association says, hey, this is what it includes, this is what it doesn't include, and things like that too. A lot of times when you're going in a community that has these homeowners associations and whatever that fee is, take a look at that. Most of the time you're going to see it more in the condo side. Sometimes they have pools, sometimes they have gyms, certain maintenance for those types of pools and gyms and things like that too. So that's going to be included in there.
So what if the home doesn't have HOAs, but it still have CC&Rs? Have you come into contact with that?
So as a lender, we don't usually see all of that. Do you guys see all of that?
That's true.
Yeah.
You guys don't.
I definitely have seen that. And personally, I've seen that actually. I lived in Elk Grove at the time, so it was basically in Laguna West. And so Laguna West, there's a large portion of that area that does have CC&Rs. And unless it's gated, I don't believe they have HOAs. But so the neighborhood I moved into was fairly new. I was renting at the time. And so this was, it was a 1998 built house. It was 2005 when we moved in. They didn't have an HOA. So there wasn't like a group or any of that kind of stuff, but they have a town center and they have members of this community that go around. And even though, you know, like HOAs, they have like their own people that go around and do things. They have a town center and they still have meetings and they still talk about things. And they still have these rules. So when we moved into that neighborhood, we weren't aware of that, right? And so there was a lot of different things. Basically, like you said, it's very similar. There was like a neighborhood lady that would kind of walk around and go and check on things and basically be the Karen of the neighborhood. It was basically just like, from everything that I saw, it was just like an HOA, except there wasn't a central governing necessarily, and there were no dues, but it was very similar where there was a lot of different regulations, a lot of different things. And the only time that they were really enforced is when somebody from the neighborhood brought it up to someone else, and then they brought it in from the Laguna,
See, so that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about CC&Rs, because you would think like in an area or a community where there's no HOAs, but there is CC&Rs, who enforces them, right? And it's being enforced by the people that live in the community only. It's and then you know what happens when it gets enforced, right? Of course, who do they call? Since there's no homeowners association, they call the city, and then that's when the cities come out. They send you a notice or a warning. So for example, I have a story to share. I know someone, right? A while back, they built a chicken coop in their backyard. One of their roosters must have been making noise in the morning. You know what roosters do in the morning, right? And one of the neighbors must have complained, and they reported that friend of mine. And one evening in the backyard, while he was going to take care of his chicken, there was a drone flying over. And he was like, huh, there's never drones flying over here. That drone has been here for a while. Why is he going back and forth, staying in one spot? And then a week after that event, he received like a notice from the city saying that we noticed that there was an anonymous reporting that you're raising chickens in the backyard of your home. According to your CC&Rs, you're not allowed to raise chickens. And here's our proof, photos from the drone, right? They showed all of that on there too. And he's like, what the heck? They basically gave him a warning and said, we're going to come out and inspect your property during this timeline. And if you don't get rid of that by the time we're there doing the walkthrough, you could get fined up to like a few $1,000s or something like that. So in case you guys are wondering how big CC&Rs could affect your home, that's how big it could affect it. There's even certain areas, Charles, like what you mentioned, right, in Elk Grove, there's certain areas in Elk Grove to where you can't even wash your car on your own driveway.
So that's what was going on. So basically what was happening was I would do a lot of things in my garage. I had a small at the time, you know, I had lost my job. And so I was doing some small little side business thing. This was a long time ago. I would open up my garage a lot and I would have my cars in the street. And I had nice cars. I didn't have like old beat up pieces of junk or nothing like that. So apparently that wasn't okay because, and then I didn't even realize this until they sent me the notice, but the neighborhood Karen was walking by and she, complained that I had my door open. And so this is what they said. The CC&R specifically said, the only time that you're allowed to have your garage door open is when you're either coming in or out of your garage. You never can leave it open. And then if you have the garage, you have 2 cars, you have to put your 2 cars in your garage. You cannot park them anywhere else.
On the driveway.
Not even in your driveway.
Yeah.
I was like, are you serious right now? So, but no, that's the thing. And then moving into a neighborhood like that neighborhood now it's well over 20 years old now. And I've been in that neighborhood because I have a friend that lives down there. I honestly don't think that anyone enforces those CC&Rs anymore. I think that's really the thing is it depends on how much the neighborhood community wants to enforce those rules, right? For the HOA, they usually have their minion, which is funny because my wife works for a company that does that now. And she's the neighborhood Karen that goes around and talks crap.
Your wife is a Karen?
Yes, she goes around taking pictures of people. I'm like, seriously? That's crazy.
Man.
So anyways, they have people that are actually out enforcing the rules, right? And so there's still people that'll say things from the neighborhood, but they also have people that will investigate claims and things like that, right? So same thing. They had a picture of it and everything. Well, you're out in your driveway. You're not supposed to be. You need to close your door. And I was just like, wow, okay, well, apparently I broke the rules. I can't have my garage door open. So yeah, that was my story. I can't believe they flew a drone back there. That's crazy.
Yeah, like this was before drone was even like that popular, like how it is right now to the consumers. Because right now, every person I know has like a drone. But during this time, it wasn't even like that yet. So the only people that had drones were like popos and photographers and videographers. That's it. But not everybody, That's crazy, man. And the reason why I'm sharing all of this on today's show is because if you guys are buying a home and there's CC&Rs, you don't have to be afraid of it if you know how you're gonna live, okay? But there's pros and cons to everything, right? And CC&Rs might make you feel like, oh man, this is my home. Why can't I do this and do that or do whatever I want to it? Well, you gotta understand, they don't want your community to end up being like run down, basically.
A dump. So
they don't want to be a dump. So they enforce these CC&Rs so that way your home could look lovely and it's gonna make your property value go up over time versus an area that might not have CC&Rs. Because believe it or not, some clients that I've worked with in the past loves the fact that there's HOAs or loves the fact that there's CC&Rs. And some other clients are like, oh, heck no, I would never buy a home with CC&Rs or HOAs. They swear by it. So it all depends on your lifestyle. Depends on who you are. Are you that type of neighbor? Are you that type of neighbor? You know what I mean? If you're that type of neighbor, then maybe you might not want to live in a place that has HOAs or CC&Rs,
Or guys, another idea is just to get to know your neighborhood Karen, okay? Because nobody will know if neighborhood Karen won't say anything, right? And be friends with that person.
So you know what's funny about all this? When you sell a home or when you buy a home, okay, there's transfer disclosures, okay? It's called the TDS form. You guys gotta disclose knowledge about your property that you're selling. So if there's a Karen or there's a neighbor that you don't want to call them by their name, but you just don't like or you've been having conflict with, that's knowledge you have to share. People don't realize that, but that's knowledge you have to share. And if you decide not to share because you're thinking that might deter buyers away from your property selling, if a buyer ends up buying your home and they end up finding out that you knew, they could come back and do some damage, okay, to your pocket. So just FYI, you're supposed to disclose everything you know about your property, even like something as small as, oh yeah, my street, they do quinceañeras every Saturday. Whatever, you gotta mention that because there's a question on that TDS form that clearly states, do you notice neighborhood noise or anything like that out of the ordinary?
Trains,
you have to disclose all of that.
Fire trucks that be driving by.
Yeah, airplane driving past you because it's an easement, because the airport's like right there. Knowledge like that you have to share. CC&Rs and all that is one of them. Now, if you've been in a home for a long time and CC&R go goes away, great. And you thought it had it or you didn't know it had it, you're not sure. One way of finding out is call a title company to do like a property search on your property. And then from there, they'll be able to tell you if you have CC&Rs. And when you buy a home, the title company actually gives you all those documentation. So that way you have full knowledge. They give you like your natural hazard disclosures to make sure that you know you're not in a flood zone, or if you are, wildfire, earthquake, tornadoes, whatever, they give you all of that so that way you have knowledge about the property you're about to pursue and buy. Okay, so you get that from your title company. All right, and now that's CC&Rs, y'all. So yeah, if you live in a place that have CC&Rs, don't build like a chicken coop in the backyard, okay?
And don't wash your car in the driveway. Can't do that.
Yeah, not all CC&Rs enforce the same restrictions. Certain areas in Algo might enforce you can't do it on your driveway, but other CC&R communities might allow you to do it. You just gotta read the fine print to make sure that it's in there or it's not in there. Some places might even allow you to have chicken coops, but that doesn't mean all areas allow you to have chicken coops, okay?
That is so funny. Jerome.
Dude, it's a true story, man. All right, well, with that, we're gonna close out. Thank you, everyone. That is the show for today. Anything else you guys want to close out on, Charles, Lisa?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, well, I'll catch you guys next time, Chi fams. Peace out. Thank you again for everything y'all do. Later.